Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In today's video I'm going to be upgrading my server with this 10 gigabit network card and this ATX Z690 motherboard. As you can see here, it's a Gigabyte, same brand as I have currently, but I wanted, as mentioned in some of my previous videos, I wanted some more PCIe slots and some upgrading to a ATX motherboard. This motherboard was bought used on a local marketplace, and I got it for 1400 Danish kroners, so whatever that comes out to in about $200 probably. And this one I bought new from also a local hardware dealer. It was about $100, I'd say. No, 50. It was, I think, 500 kroners. Yeah, maybe 100. Whatever. I can't do math. So this is a Intertech. Can't remember the exact model number, but you can see that. That is the one, and it's PCI Express 2.0, but it's 4 lanes. Should be 4 lanes, even though it's an X8 connector. It looks like. And it has SFP. It's a single port. You can see it is populated, so it is capable of accepting 2 ports, which is weird because when I was looking on the website, they only seem to have a single port version of this card with this PCB. So I don't know actually why they have a 2-port variant. Maybe it's discontinued or something. But yeah, it's pretty simple. I do believe it's an Intel chipset. I'm gonna put a correction up on screen if it's not. But yeah, we'll be installing this, and the reason for the upgrading the motherboard is because I don't have any more PCI Express slots on my server. Only slots I have left are PCI Express 1, and obviously something like this is not gonna fit in an X1 slot. I could Dremel out the PCI slot, but yeah, I'm not big of a fan of doing that. So if we take a look at the motherboard here, it doesn't come with any accessories, not even the NVMe screws. So this is the motherboard I bought. It's a Gigabyte Z690 Gaming X DDR4, and the reason for going with a DDR4 motherboard instead of a DDR5 motherboard is because obviously my server is already running. I already have 128 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. I don't want to buy new RAM, I don't want to buy new CPU, I just want like an in-place upgrade of the motherboard direct swap. So I was kind of locked into getting a DDR4 motherboard, and these have kind of started going off the market now. The one I was looking at buying originally suddenly got discontinued and got pulled from all the retailers, and it became twice as expensive if I wanted to buy on eBay or anywhere else. So then I ended up just looking for something else, and actually maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because this one has one more NVMe slot than the one that I was looking at. So this one actually has an NVMe under this heatsink, and then it has 3 NVMe's under here. We could just take a look at that. So here we have the 3 NVMe slots, and you can see on the back of the screw. I have to find that in a bit. So on the back of this one there are 3 thermal pads. Only one of them has been used, so you can see but I'm probably also going to be using the top one. And if I remember correctly, the 3 ones here are faster than, no, sorry, this one is the fastest, probably PCIe 5.0, and then these are 4.0. Don't actually quote me on that. I found the screw. So anyways, yeah, so one of them is, they call Ultra, and the other one are just fast. Anyways, yeah, there's not really much to say. So the obviously there are 3 PCI slots. These are only wired for X4, which is fine. I'm probably going to be putting my my HBA and my network card, and then if I want to add a graphics card in the future, I can put that up in this slot, because the HBA and the network card only need X4, so it doesn't really make sense to take the high bandwidth slot for that. And then of course I can put in my Optane and my regular old other NVMe stuff. It only came with, it didn't come with any NVMe screws. I had to bring my own. So I kind of scavenged some from the boxes from my other computers. Sometimes the motherboard comes with an extra screw or two. So yeah, I kind of went around to all the boxes for my other computers, and I grabbed some NVMe screws. I'm probably gonna buy something on AliExpress. You can get like a set of 50 of them for not a whole lot of money. So I'm probably gonna buy like a set of 50 just to have, because they're nice to have. One thing I noticed with NVMe screws is if you search specifically for M.2 screws, you can get like 50 kroners for 10 of them. But if you search for M2 3mm flathead screws, like not for M.2 but M2 thread, because I believe they're M2 thread, that's at least what people say online. If you just search for like M2 and then you happen to find one that's 3mm and a flathead, you can get 50 of them for the same price. So it's like people are taking advantage of you searching for specifically for M.2, but you can just find the same screw. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna get one of those sets and hope that it's actually a M2 thread, because obviously M.2 doesn't mean M2. So I think that's enough talking about the motherboard. I think I should go ahead and shut down the server, and we can bring it over here and do the motherboard swap. Here we are with the server on the desk, and as you can see, I have my little tiny motherboard in here, which we're gonna have to get out, and all of the RAM and stuff that's inside it. So I think my first course of action should just be to remove the CPU cooler, because it's it's quite big and it's gonna be in the way of getting to all the screws. The way to remove the CPU cooler is you have to remove the fan first, which is not easy. If I grab a fix-it thing like this flat thing, you can probably get in here and push it. No? That's annoying. There you go. Okay, so we got the fan. I'm just gonna lift that up carefully. Try not to bend all of the fins. That looks weird. That's an interesting design. It's not one of the Redux coolers, but I think usually Noctua fans don't look like this. That's interesting. I don't have another one at hand to compare with, but yeah, I think that looks interesting. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab some isopropyl alcohol and then I'll clean it. I think that's good enough. So we'll set this to the side. We can take out the HBA, which should just disconnect like that. And the fan for it. Then it comes out. So that's my LSI HBA with a little cute Noctua fan on it. So the one thing that I'm a bit iffy about is these USB connectors here. I have to take a picture of that because that's reversible. And then the front panel connectors are a bit annoying because I have it connected to this Bleed Cube, and with the Bleed Cube it is sensitive to polarity. So even the front panel switch, you have to make sure to get in the right order, which is a bit annoying. So I think I'm gonna put some tape around this and then try to keep it together in one block, and then hopefully I can just move all of it over at once. So I do have some tape, which I'm just gonna carefully try to put around the front panel connectors. Because that's a pain to connect. You can even see it's coupled with extensions here, and it's a mess. I don't know how much. Sorry if you can't see much when I'm filming in here. It's I need to get a better tripod. Because my tripod is a very old, not adjustable at all. And then I have my gimbal mounted on it. So yeah, great. That's just a PC speaker. Remove that. That wasn't that. Okay. I can't really take a picture of it since you know, I'm using my phone to record, so I just have to remember famous last words. So yeah, yeah, that should be it. So it just kind of comes up like this, and you can see my little tiny motherboard here. I haven't found a use case for this motherboard yet. I did consider buying a better CPU and then upgrading my main desktop, then upgrading my server with the one for my desktop, and then leaving this one in here. But I didn't end up doing that because I didn't really need it, and I don't need to use this motherboard for anything right now. So I thought it's better just to wait to buy a better CPU, because the CPUs I can always buy easily on eBay or whatever when they are a lot older, and get them for a lot cheaper. It's dumb to buy a CPU that you don't need right now because it will just go down in value. So just to make it easier for myself, I'll remove the cables from here. And we'll have to install some more standoffs, I believe, maybe. Or maybe it actually... Yeah, maybe this is enough standoffs. I'll have to remove the Bleed Cube. I can't really get around that. And it just kind of hangs in here. So yeah, I think we're just gonna shove it over here, because again, all of the cables, they're a pain. Not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna shove it in here, and then we'll grab it once once I'm ready with the connector, with the new motherboard. This one I actually don't really need right now. It's for the old SSD, which I might as well also take off. So this is the Windows SSD that I had for my old. So here we have the motherboard in a bit better view, and I think I'm just going to start removing stuff. So we have all my RAM. This is DDR4 3600, I believe. So this is the RAM that I have. I have 4 of those. It's not PCIe, it's just regular old I mean, my server is just pretty much just a gaming computer. Nothing more to it. And then we're gonna take off the Noctua mounting hardware, because we're gonna need that. And yeah, if I was gonna buy a CPU for this motherboard, I do already have some stock coolers laying around, which I might as well just use. Because yeah, I could put it in my backup server. My backup server currently has the free motherboard from the trash room, but of course I could put in this one. But again, the backup server doesn't really need much power, so it doesn't really make sense to do that, I don't think. So yeah, here we have the mounting hardware. I'm not really gonna need to change anything about it. I'm just gonna leave it. And then we're gonna take out the CPU, and then I have a CPU cover from the other motherboard that I'm just gonna install. Actually, no, I'm gonna install the one that came with. So, there it is. I have the CPU cover here. So we're just gonna put that on straight away. Yeah, there you go. And now I have thermal pastes on my hands. I think, maybe. So we have the CPU cover on. We'll take out the CPU, close down the cover. There you go. And now we're pretty much, no, we're not finished. What am I doing? Still need the M.2 screws, or the M.2 LVMs. So I'll take out that. And I might as well just leave the screws with this motherboard, because I did salvage 2 other screws from somewhere else. So I have enough screws to use right now. And then by leaving the ones with this motherboard, I know I'll have some, when inevitably I'm gonna use this motherboard for something, I will have my screws. So that's nice. And the M.2 is stuck to this, so see if we can remove it. This is a captive screw even. So yeah, this one you can't screw the NVMe directly. It's kind of just stuck to the heatsink. So remove that. There you go. Well, it's kind of left some gunk behind, but that's fine. So I think this one is seated nicely back on the heatsink. So yeah, I don't know. The thermal pad is still on there pretty well, so I don't know why it left that gunk behind. But we'll just install this back in its place. And I did put that screw good in, good in. Yeah, I don't know if I should clean this. I probably should. I think that's fine. We'll leave it like that. So now I am done with this motherboard. I have the 2 NVMEs, the CPU, the RAM. Yeah, I think that should be everything. Now we can grab the new guy and start installing stuff. So I think we'll start with the Noctua. Shoot, I didn't screw in the heatsink. Okay, so that one goes this way, like so. And the 4 little standoffs, and then those go on this way, I believe, right? Mount like this. So yeah, going like that. I realized I should install the CPU before I do that, because of course this is gonna cover up the CPU. So let's just do that. Okay, so pretty good. There you go. Just done nicely. Oh. We'll put this one up to the box. So now we can install the mounting stuff. And actually I have to notice the way they go in correctly. There you go. Because there are some different holes that they can go into, and you have to make sure you're using the right ones. So yeah, better to make sure beforehand than have installed everything and then you have to take it apart again. Good. Get pretty tight. There you go. Perfect. So we'll install the RAM. And one of them are open. And I did already test the motherboard. I did buy it used, but I took the CPU out of my main desktop and put it in here, and the RAM also. And it seems to be working fine. So I didn't test all the PCIe slots, but I tested the NVMe. So hopefully everything is in good condition. Yeah, NVMe's. Question is if I should put which ones I should put where, right? Should I put because I'm pretty sure this is a faster slot, but this is a 4.0 drive, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I'll put them like that. So I put the Optane one here, and I'll put the other one there we go. So. And this one is a bit different from the other motherboard that I have, because the NVMe actually screws in to a standoff here, not just the heatsink. So, but I guess there's also more space, so I think it's a space-saving measure on the other motherboard. So get that in there. Good. And this screw is a bit finicky, so you have to get it just right. There you go. So I have had Gigabyte stuff before where the thread was a bit weird. On my GTX 1060, the DVI connector screws were a bit finicky, so you had to get it in the right groove to screw in. And it seems to be the same with this NVMe standoff. It has a bit of a weird thread, so you have to get it in the correct groove to screw it in. I don't know, it is what it is. So this one goes this way. And it goes on there. There's no motherboard standoffs under here, right? No, it doesn't look like it, because the middle one is here. I'm just gonna check if because I'm not sure if the standoffs are the same between. No, they're not. So that one, yeah. Something loose. That one is loose. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So pretty much just the top standoff, not the middle one. So it's pretty much just the bottom row that I have to move. It's not the one in the corner, so I have to install the one in the corner, and then I have to move the bottom row down. Seems like the middle ones and the top ones appear to be the same. So yeah, let's I will move this one out the way. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you have a great idea what I could use this motherboard for. I don't have any RAM for it and don't have any CPU for it. But yeah, in my desktop I have a 12600K and this one is a 12400K. And then you know, I could buy a 12 or maybe I could buy a 13 or 14700 for my main desktop and then put my 12400 in this one and then put the 12600 in this one. But I don't know. So the bottom ones have to move, and then I need an extra one for the corner. There we go, and this one, I think, was it? So there's already one. Ah, okay. So this is the middle one, this is the previous bottom one. Then there's already one here for the bottom. For some reason the bottom one over here was missing, but I have to take this one out. And then I have to look where that goes. It goes in line with both of them. Okay. So in line with this one, that one. So that's this hole. Go. So yeah, those are all in line. Let me just make sure they're tight. The top ones should be the same. So I'm gonna need one more motherboard screw from the box, which I hope I have. Let's get this. SATA cable is not even plugged in. Okay. Because I took out the SSD. Oh, we'll have to remove the I/O shield. And the new motherboard. Thankfully, the guy didn't give me any accessories, but the I/O shield is built in. That's a thing that I really like about these more high-end motherboards, is that they have the I/O shield built in. It's just so much nicer. So, see if we can get it in. There's nothing you have to think about aligning. Sometimes the cables in the back are a bit annoying to align, but yeah, you don't have to do that when the I/O shield is built in. Okay, so should be good. Okay, that's a bit. I do have one problem. And that problem is, you can see the amount of PCI Express slots. I was hoping that this last one was still going to be floating in midair, so I could put in the KVM, because the KVM doesn't actually need to be connected to PCI Express. It just uses it for ground, not even for power or anything. But the problem is, of course, I'm going to put in my HBA and my network card, and then probably a graphics card at some point or something else. This is the last slot, so I don't want to waste a slot just to have my KVM. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing, if I'm gonna be using this slot, is I'm gonna chop off the PCI connector on the B-Cube so that it can sit over the M.2 here, because I don't want to waste a slot to have that connected. But we'll start installing all of the motherboard screws. So I'll get my extension bit here. And we'll start screwing in screws. Cool. Okay, now that should be good. Finally. So pack away the extra. Okay, so I think chopping off the PCI connector on that B-Cube is a later project.
because right now I don't need the slots that much. So yeah, I think that's a project for another day. So we just grab it out carefully here. I think I'm gonna put it in the top slot here, and then the second top slot. Oh. Well, actually, yeah. Then if the top slot is also not connected with anything, then I guess I could also put it in there if I chop off the connector. There you go. And oh, so we'll put it into the second slot here. And turn it the right way around. Get this unstuck. There we go. Why is this so loose? Somebody didn't tighten the screws well enough. Great. Well, I guess who's not gonna fix that? Me. Because the screws for the back plate on the PCI slot are loose, but yeah, not gonna worry about that now. I just want to make sure that the rate control or the HBA fits here. That's a problem. Put the DQ there. Go. Should line it up. There you go. Okay, I did just go ahead and get the front panel stuff connected. So you can see it's quite of a mess in here. I did get the fan for the HBA connected down under here, and the tape worked actually pretty good. It was a bit hard to align it, but once it aligned, it went in pretty smoothly. And yeah, as you can see, I ended up putting the bleed cube on the bottom slot here, and stashing a bunch of cables behind it, and then the HBA can sit here for now until if I'm gonna add a graphics card. I'm not sure that I'm gonna add a graphics card, but if I am gonna add a graphics card, it'll be nice that I can have this slot with all the space below it, and then I'll have to find a different solution for this fan, and of course I'll have to chop off the PCI Express connector from the bleed cube, and then I could put it like maybe in the top slot here, or maybe in the, depending on how big the graphics card is, maybe I put it here. So now it's pretty much just time to start connecting some of the cables. I did go ahead and run the SATA power and data for the slot up here. Because my thought is just, if I'm ever gonna use it, it'll be nice that the cables are already there, and it was not like I wanted to grab some new cables or anything. It was already there. So yeah, I'm gonna start plugging in the HBA. I have the 24 pin for the motherboard and the 8 pin. Actually, with this one I do need an 8 pin plus another 4 pin. So I'm gonna have to find the box for this power supply, which is right up there. So yeah, I have to get the cables from that and start connecting stuff. That's hard to do with one hand. I'll put you down. And then I have to see if I have another CPU connector. Hopefully I do. That's a graphics card. And that's SATA. hopefully that's not going to be a problem. I mean, it's not a powerful CPU, so it's not going to need all of that power, but hopefully the motherboard will work without that, because yeah, it doesn't seem like I have another SATA and I have a GPU connector. Okay, well, yeah, I'm just gonna hope that it's gonna work with only one 8-pin. I mean, it's not a powerful CPU, so it's probably gonna be fine, but yeah, we'll see. So this one goes like this. Yep. So we just plug in that, and that one. Good. Right down, but they're fine. I like these short cables because they don't take up any space in the case. They're just long enough just to reach and not be too short or not too long. I do have some longer ones, but they, these cables are very stiff. So if you have like these huge long cables, they're pretty annoying to find a space for, especially if you don't have enough, if you don't have a lot of space, which I mean in this case I do have. But yeah, we'll install the whole reason for the upgrade, this 10 gigabit card. Boom boom, perfect. And let's screw that in. Perfect. Yeah, that was the whole reason for the upgrade, and as you can see, it's pretty tight in there. So the cards are very tight up against each other. Now it's time for some thermal paste and the CPU cooler, and I think that's the last to do. So we'll get some thermal paste, which I have some here. I have one that's almost empty, but maybe there's enough, maybe there's not. That should be good. I'll just show you, just so you can rate me in the comments. Okay, now it's time for the CPU cooler, and I believe it goes with the thick side that way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and I'm gonna put in that extension, so that's gonna be easier. Cool. Grab the CPU cooler. There you go. And this is always a bit awkward. There you go. And we're going to kind of tighten one of them and then tighten the other one, and then kind of load balance. There you go. That's pretty good. Pretty nice. Now it's just time for the CPU fan, and there is a fan connector right next to it. Now it's time to put in the CPU fan, and one of them is labeled CPU opt and the other one is CPU fan. So I think we're gonna use the one that's not opt, because the CPU cooler only has one fan. Okay, so mounted one side. I can kind of see by the dents in the heatsink where it was mounted previously. So I just kind of did the same, and then we'll see if we can get it in on the other side as well. Cool. Yeah, that's my OCD can't really handle if it's not straight, so I'll try to get it in as straight as I can. There you go. Yeah, that's pretty straight. Okay, so fan
is connected, HBA is connected, KVM, network card. I think everything is good to go now. All of the RAM is in. Just trying to think if there's anything else that needs to be plugged in. So we have one 8-pin CPU. The fans on the back are connected up here to the back plane, and the fans in the front are connected to a power supply board. So I think we're good to go. My plan for the future is I might put a fan like here, make a 3D printed mount with some magnets or something to put here, so that there can be a fan blowing down on the cards here. That way I can avoid having this little 40mm fan. If I can avoid that, then obviously I'll be able to push the HBA to a slot further back, and then yeah, I can have this slot free, and then I'll be able to put in a graphics card or something. But you know, right now I don't need a graphics card, so I'm just gonna leave it. Who knows? Maybe I'm never gonna put in a graphics card, and then you know it would be a waste of time to do all of that. So I'll take that project when it arises. I'll just grab the top cover here. If I'm following all of the PC traditions, I should probably test it before I put it in the rack, but I'm pretty confident that it's gonna work. So yeah, I'm not bothering testing it. So the time has come. We're now putting in the server, and it's a bit heavier, I think. Oh, there. So it's a bit heavier than it was before, but of course the motherboard also weighs like five times as much. Still slides. I also just connected the cables in the back here, so you can see the HDMI, the network, and the KVM network. I think I'm gonna start out by using the onboard NIC and then set that up later, because I haven't configured anything on my switch here, so I need a trunk port and all of that stuff. I think we'll just do it one step at a time. We'll set up the networking with the 2.5 gigabit, and then I can have all of my VMs on that. And then I was thinking about passing the 10 gigabit through to TrueNAS directly, but then if the VMs have to access the TrueNAS, then they'll be limited to 2.5 gigabit. Whereas if I pass through this one to Proxmox and then create a Linux bridge and all stuff on that, and assign the VMs and TrueNAS to that, they can have full 10 gigabit VirtIO whatever to that. Whereas if this one, they have to go out this cable and in with that cable. So I think I'm gonna assign it in Proxmox as a Linux bridge. But yeah, anyways, the cables are connected, the power supplies are on. So I think we'll go over to the computer and we'll try turning on the server. Here we are at the KVM, and I'm gonna power on the server. Let's see what happens. I can hear the fans are going, and we can also see the power symbol here is lighting up. Okay, we got something. So it says that the BIOS was reset, which is fine. Maybe I should actually do a quick Google search to see if the you can see we're up to F30. We'll have a look at what version we are running. So we're running F21. So actually I'm just gonna do a quick BIOS update before we get too far. Okay, here we are at the BIOS again. Q-flash. We do see a file now. There's F30. So that should be good. And we are sure.
Okay, so now we have a new splash screen, which is interesting, and that looks a lot different. Search for to enable VTD. Search that again. Save some new controls. Okay, so does it tell me where the path of that option? Doesn't really tell me, because it would be nice to just go to the menu, but yeah, we can just enable all of that, because we like, I don't know if we want C10, but limit, we'll go to like C8 probably. We'll just leave it at auto. No, we'll go to C8. Can't set that. Oh, there you go. Okay. So to C8. Wonder what happens to that. And then I was looking for the memory still. Oh, there's the memory. Okay, so XMP, we can set that to profile 2. I believe that's, okay, so that's 3000 and that's 3600. Okay, so I think, I don't know if it uses more power to run the memory at that speed, but maybe if I disable it, it's gonna run at 2400 probably. What's the latency? 22. Okay, so maybe it runs at 2400. I think it's worth the power usage to enable XMP for the better performance. But I think we are done here, so we'll save and exit. So we enabled VCD, enabled the C states, we enabled the platform power management, and oh, maybe I shouldn't change that in the miscellaneous. No, what was it in here? Yeah, deselected. I don't know if it actually does anything, but maybe. Oh, what? That one. No, that one. Yep. Physical view, and then we'll select this one, I guess. Ooh, that's one. I don't have to enable that, so that's on the trigger. Advanced, and then we have to set that one up to 10. There you go. Save. Yeah, because otherwise, if I had that on my desktop at least, where it would fail to boot and then it would reset the BIOS because it couldn't get the memory, but it just has to try a few more times. So setting that retry loop. It takes a bit longer to boot with XMP, but it also ensures that it actually is able to boot. Yeah, it still has its IP, so yes, that just worked. Wow. Impressive. So it just, yeah, it's on the, wait, what? No, it did something. Okay. 11, wait, what? I'm confused. So 134.10. Why does it say 128.11? What? Because this is my management VLAN, so it's assigned to that, and this is proxying through to the management VLAN. So we have a few network cards here. So this one was the old USB, then I guess this is the new one. No, active, yes. So that one is active. That one seems to be mapped to that. Right, so this is the old one that I did in the migration video, which is mapped to that, which is the USB one. Then this is the onboard 2.5 gigabit that's active, and then this is the 10 gigabit. I'm gonna assume, hopefully. Yeah, if in case you can't tell, I have no idea, but yeah, I assume that's. Yep, okay. So here we are at the switch, and I have indeed even set up some VLANs. I think I'll just set up the second DMZ VLAN. Just enable dark mode so it's easier to look at. We'll do 68. And we'll set that to 2. There you go. So that's trunked to that. So this is the trunk port that connects. So of course it's excluded from that, and it is untagged on that. So I think I'm just going to use port 1 for that. So we'll say, well, that needs, we'll just untag it on all of them. So yeah, so we'll create it as a trunk, and then we'll do exclude tagged. Yeah, the server might as well just get all of the VLANs, and then I can, in Proxmox, I can set up what VMs are allowed on what. Then we'll do untagged, that's fine. So we're tagged on all VLANs, and have all of that good stuff. Looking at the port status on the switch, we now see that there's a link here, I believe, and we can also see it here. It is linked at, we can see here it is linked at 10 gigabit, and there's not really any traffic going through it, of course. Yep, okay, that works. Yeah, so the SFP works. Cool. We'll remove that again. We'll unassign that. We'll assign this one to new one, and I think this one can be removed. So this is the onboard. And this is the SFP. Just note that down. And then this one is, well, it's not on board, so we'll remove that comment. But yeah, so that one links to that now. And then, yeah, that should be good. Let's see. And then all of the, yeah, now we see all the traffic is going through that instead. So if I was to do a speed test, If I was to do a speed test by copying over a funny that one was copied. So if I was to do a speed test by copying over a file, I should get 2.5 gigabit, and then I could go over to my Mac, which has 10 gigabit, and see if I achieve the same. But yeah, 2.5 gigabit, that's what my desktop is connected at. You can see it's receiving that, and that's going through to that Hasio switch, which is connected down here. So we'll just give it a name. HPV01. And you didn't save. Okay, I have to click there. Okay. It is now a few days later, and as you may be able to notice, I had to move the 3 hard drives in the front here to the bottom slots, and that's because these 3 top slots here started giving me some problems. I did the migration or the motherboard swap as it is on Sunday, and when I ran the backup that ran Sunday night to Monday, I noticed Monday morning that the backup had failed, and that seemed to be the error I was getting was that the disk I/O had been suspended. So I tried restarting the TrueNAS VM, and every time I tried restarting it, it would freeze up during the reboot or during the shutdown process. So when I finally looked in the VDEV status, I noticed that one of the hard drives was offline, and it seemed to be throwing all sorts of disk I/O errors in the console. When I got home Monday, I noticed that the first hard drive here was making some weird noises. It kind of sounded like a power cycle where it would spin and then it would turn off for like a third of a second, but not slow all the way down, and then you could hear it power up again. So it would you could hear it spin down and then power up again, and then it wouldn't make the initialize where it moves the head. So I tried swapping the cables in the back. I moved the first hard drive because I thought maybe it was something with the backplane and the first port, because obviously this one started having problems then. So this morning I moved the drives down here, and it did start resolving by itself. Hopefully that's not going to be a problem. I mean, it's not a powerful CPU, so it's not going to need all of that power, but hopefully the motherboard will work without that, because yeah, it doesn't seem like I have another SATA. I have a GPU connector. Monday night I was also running a scrub with the drives up here, and that failed. Well, didn't fail, it was still running, but one of the drives was offline, so I didn't really see a point in continuing the scrub with the offline drive. The cables in the server are from AliExpress, so they're maybe not the best quality. I do have some different cables, which you can see here. These are maybe better quality, I'm not sure. They came with an HBA when I bought it used. They came with these pretty long cables, so I might also try that out. Right now I think I'm gonna leave the hard drives in the bottom slots, and then I'm gonna connect some spare hard drives in the top slots just to test it out. Because even though I will leave the hard drives down here, it will be nice to know if I fixed the problem. I looked at Crystal Disk Info and there was no smart errors, but the thing that I did see is that the drive with the lowest power on cycles is around 60, and then one of the drives has 300 and the other drive has 500. So I think that is pretty clear that it is that power cycle issue that I mentioned, where one of the drive would just power down and power up again. Well, if you're following along at home with my subtle editing, you might have already seen what the problem is, and we're definitely going to have a look at this in another video where we're going to try to fix it. So the server is currently running a 1200 watt Corsair power supply, and it's very overkill for this server because this server is only using 100 watt. Interestingly enough, the efficiency I thought would be way worse on this power supply because it's a 1200 watt. It might be a platinum, but still the usage is only around 10%. But it's only actually using around 1 or 2 watts more than the smaller power supply. But I mean, it costs like twice as much, so I might as well try to get the 650 working instead of using a 1200 watt power supply, which I could use for something else. But as you can see, the hard drives have been moved back to the 3 original slots because it turned out not to be a problem with my backplane, the HBA, anything, not even the motherboard. It is a few weeks later and the server has been running perfectly fine since then, other than my small power outages, but there's nothing that the server can do about that. I know it's been a long video, but I do hope that you enjoyed it anyways. If you did, maybe you can find a new motherboard for your like button and see if it will fit. If it does, definitely make sure to smash it. While you're down there, make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below, and then I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.